Finding equivalent fractions. Equivalent fractions have the same value, even though they may look pretty different. The best way to show you how to find equivalent fractions is just to take a look at one. 2/3 equals 4/6 equals 6/9. This is just a very short string of equivalent fractions, but what makes these fractions equivalent or equal to one another? They look very different, but they are in fact the same value. So why is that? Can you find a pattern from 2/3 to 4/6 to 6/9? Here's a hint. Think of the multiples involved of both the numerator and the denominator. Let's take a look at our multiples then, just to set it up properly here. We could go a lot further than that, but I just don't think we'll need to for this particular example. So we want to do 2 times 1, 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. These are multiples of 2. This is where I got the 2, by the way. It's that first numerator. And of course you can imagine that's where I got the 3. So 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. Again, I could go a lot further. What are the patterns here? If you set your problem up like this, take a look. Two-thirds, 4/6, 6/9. So in order, if you look up here, if you want to go from 2/3 to 4/6, what do you have to do? Well, looking down the chart, you need to multiply both the top and the bottom by the same number, which in this case it's 2. So 2 times 2, 3 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. Alright, so how do I go to 6/9 then? Let me erase this up here. To go to 6/9, what do I multiply it by now? You see the fraction right there. So 2 times 3, I just go back to the original 2/3. 3 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. And you get 6/9. 2/3 is equal to 4/6, and 2/3 and 4/6 are both equal to 6/9. This is equivalent fractions. Let's work one out. 1/4. If you'd like, you can do this. Just write your multiples lines out here. Just go several out. I want to go 3 places out, so we'll just go 3 out. So 1 times 1 is 1, and of course 2, and 1 times 3 is 3. That one's easy. 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12. That's easy. And I'm seeing that pattern yet again. And this is what you find if you're told to find the first 3 equivalent fractions, or if you're told to find the first 10 equivalent fractions. Set it up in this way, and you will start to see your fractions take shape like this one and like this one. Look closely. Let me get back to my blue here. If you look closely, you have 2/8. Now let me check my work before I just go ahead and write it. 1 times 2 is 2. 4 times 2 is 8. There it is. There's that pattern represented yet again. If I want to go 3 places out, you're absolutely right. You see it again. right here. Let's just check our work to make sure. So we want to do 1 times 3, 4 times 3, 1 times 3 is 3, 4 times 3 is 12. That too is represented. We've just found the first 3 multiples of 1/4. 3/8. Let's use the same tool. It seems to be working. This will be our last example. 3/8. Times 1, times 2. I'm going to say, let's go 4 out. So 3 times 1 is 3, and then 6, 9, 12. 8 times 1 is 8, 16. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. Well, as you can see, it's starting to take shape again. So now let's do 3 times 2 and 8 times 2, because again, what you do on the top, you must do on the bottom. And what you do on the bottom, you must do on the top. So 3 times 2 is 6, 8 times 2 is 16. There it is again. And to do the next one in line is times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 8 times 3 is 24. And we see that represented as well. And then, of course, last one here. 3 times 4, 8 times 4. Let's see if the pattern holds true. 3 times 4 is 12. 8 times 4, 32. And as we can see, that pattern does hold true. And that's how you find equivalent fractions. Now I want to throw one last thing out here. Let's take any old fraction. 5/8. Why not? If I wanted to find any equivalent fraction, I don't care what it is, times 7 times 7. We could jump right to an equivalent fraction if we'd like. We don't have to go in order. So 5 times 7 is 35. 8 times 7 is 56. And how does this play into the whole fractions thing that we're going through in class here? Well, if you needed to reduce or simplify 35/56, if you do it right, you're going to find that 5/8 is a reduced equivalent fraction. 5/8 is the lowest terms. So if you watched my other video on reducing fractions, now it's starting to tie in.